Yeah, so we're just gonna finish up
Bonk.
the political stuff, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, we will. We have like what 5, 6, 7 to go through. Um, should
Yep.
be shouldn't be too what's the word? Too long to go through this stuff. Hopefully, so we'll jammer. I'll just I'll slap the thing on the Discord. Do you want? I know you're not live right now. Um, do you want me to like have your camera showing on my end, or
Good. I
actually I
don't
don't know
care.
how would I do that?
I
Do
also don't know how you would do that.
I'm actually not sure how it. Do put in the corner. Probably could. I guess it'd be difficult while I'm like switching through tabs and stuff.
Hmm.
Okay, 1 second. I gotta do this. Wait, no, that's the wrong button. Ignore this. Off goes the video. Here we go, the screen. Boop. Go live. Hell yeah. Okay, there we go. I am debroadcasting the screen to you. Cool. Okay, we continue. We continue the memes. So I've learned a little bit more since yesterday. Um, we initially kind of left off talking about how we were recommending to like close schools and stuff up here.
Hmm.
And based on what I was reading here, it seemed to make sense that maybe it's okay to like have schools open again because most of the studies were talking about stuff like that. But it seems like more data's come out since then. And it was it this study? It was a study, yeah. Um, they had a couple conclusions in the study that were pretty. They essentially the study assesses like every country's like responses and like every individual response, and then like ranks the responses.
Hmm.
Um, and they have said, okay, so they say here the most effective NPIs, which is like non-pharmaceutical interventions, I think is what that means, or something like that. So that's essentially just the best responses, the most effective responses that don't include vaccines, includes
Yeah.
curfews, lockdowns, and closing and restricting places where people gather in small or large numbers for an extended period of time. This includes small gathering cancellations, so shops, restaurants, gatherings of 50 persons or fewer, mandatory homeworking, and so on. So this is pretty much lockdowns, right? Is what that's explaining. And then closure of educational institutions. While in previous studies based on smaller numbers of countries, school closures had been attributed as having a little effect on spread of COVID-19. More recent evidence has been in favor of the importance of this MPI. School closures in the United States have been found to reduce COVID-19 incidence and mortality by about 60%. That's pretty huge. And this is probably why a lot of scientists have been like getting pretty miffed um, about schools like reopening and stuff, or just schools staying
Right.
open. Um, so this would explain it pretty good. Um, yeah, so that kind of backs it, I guess. Anyways, so I know I'd heard arguments before about the school closure stuff, but I hadn't read any studies specifically about it until now. So yeah, so
Okay. Okay.
probably gonna stick with that opinion. Do 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 do. So Section 5 is lockdowns. It's pretty straightforward. Lockdown harms injustice against the people. How many more deaths from the economic fallout and ramifications of the overreaction to COVID? Dr. Jaffe. For Canada, it looks like a minimum number of 10 times, and globally, depending if you're extremely conservative, it's 5 times, and if you're more realistic, it's 50 times. So this is, he's claiming the deaths, I think, from the
Right.
lockdowns compared to COVID are 10 times or fuck, what is it? I don't even know. 10 times or 5 times or 50 times greater? Is that what he's saying? I'm pretty sure that's what he's saying, right? Like
Yeah.
that's how I read
Maybe
it.
like for Canada, it looks like a minimum number of 10 times, and globally, depending if you're extreme conservative, it's 5 times, and if you're more realistic, it's 50 times.
This is
Uh,
insane. There's no way.
yeah.
Like maybe if you're like looking at Canada's numbers being lower and then you're like trying to like come up with I don't know, like if we were to say, like, look at New Zealand, then, like, because New Zealand has restricted COVID spread so well, they've only had like 26 deaths to date. So deaths from anything is going to be like, is going to easily like overpass that pretty much, you know? So like maybe that's like the weird argument they're making. I feel like this is just completely like baseless conjecture though. This doesn't seem, you know? Like,
Right.
this is just someone talking out their ass.
Right. Oh, what was point 4 again? We didn't go over that one.
We did. Point 4 was where's 4?
COVID school.
The school stuff. It's all the school stuff.
Yeah, so like, what are we gonna put in there? Because we didn't write anything down for 4.
Oh, you could just if you want, you could link them to the study and just say that like the study concludes that school closures have been found to reduce COVID-19 incidence and mortality by about 60%.
Has been found to reduce COVID.
Have been found to reduce COVID-19 incidence and mortality by about 60%. And then I'll just send you the linky.
By 60%?
Yeah, 60%.
I'll make sure you weren't saying 16.
16, baby. No, it's 60. Lem. Yeah, and I sent the linky in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it talks about lockdowns and stuff too. They talk about the downsides of lockdowns and blah blah blah. It's pretty much they agree with pretty much like most of our assertions, so or our prescriptions. Right. So, well, it's more that we agree with theirs rather because I'm not a scientist. So, yeah. So that's I don't know. That's pretty much it for the school stuff. Like I don't know. Where am I here? Mortality. Because he talks about, like, the governor again, which I don't give a fuck about Republicans and what they say. So I don't even care about what the fucking, the Democrats say either, to be fair. Like, I don't care what governors say in general, you know?
Right.
And then he gives us all these studies saying that school spread is like, minimalistic, essentially. And that's pretty much the section. So, yeah, I don't know what else to, like, say about this. And then they want to debate Doug Ford and then all his studies. Yeah, so I don't know. That seems good for section 4, hey?
Yeah, I think just linking that should be good because it's like
just some pushback essentially, right? Like,
yeah.
Cool. The physician-led Edmonton Zone Strategic COVID-19 Pandemic Committee published a Q&A about the purported, oh my god, English, necessity of widespread lockdowns. We argue that societal lockdowns are ineffective, harmful, and the wrong response to the pandemic. So this is a little conversation thing again, I guess. Was the most important information needed to decide about lockdowns provided? No. What is the infection fatality rate from the virus? So then they talk about how there's more infections that are occurring than what we are diagnosed, kind of thing, which means that the infection fatality rate is probably more unknown than what we think it is, right? Because the more cases you'd have, they're kind of leaning into that whole John I thing, you know, with the like the number. They think the infection fatality rate is like probably minimalistic. It's probably not exactly what we see on the surface, but like because I highly doubt that they have it down to a fucking nail, you know, but it's pretty close. The numbers just seem to align that way, right? So, in an analysis of international reports of IFR, the number of people with virus infection that will die of COVID-19, the median was 0.23%. So I think this is what now. So they're claiming it's a different infection fatality rate. They're claiming that it's 0.23, and I believe that John Guy said it was like 0.13.
Yeah.
And then they go on to, so just the general median was 0.23, and then the median IFR was 0.05 for people who are under 70, so they're just doing the whole 70-year thing again, and was lower than for influenza for people under 50. Cool. This is probably just false again. We could double check the 0.23 thing with the New York math again to see if that's even realistic, but I don't think it is. Come on. My computer's so slow. Big sad. Well, it's not that slow, actually. I shouldn't complain that much, but, oh boy. Oh wait, did I put C?
Oh, bless me.
Bless your soul.
Sorry, I'm gonna be real with you here. The last like 2 minutes that you were talking, I was correcting grammar.
Oh, algae. I am just double checking some more math.
Very good.
So we go 32.
Yeah, because they claimed it was 0.23, right?
Yeah. So he's throwing like different numbers at us. Just anything that will stick. That's the thing, right? With Mr. Blayon. It's like he doesn't care as long as it's spitting the same narrative. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Divided by.
I think that's something that we can call him out on too. It's like, earlier you cited the number 0.13, and now you're saying the number 0.23. It really makes me wonder if you have actually read, the articles that you provide, or if you just strictly copy and paste without understanding.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we're not gonna just like pick one or whatever, and yeah, either way, it doesn't math out because remember we have 8.9 million people in New York City, and 14 million with this number, so we still are way too much. We're still way over the population of New York City.
I thought it was 18. Oh no, it was 18 million in the state of New York. It was 18.
Yeah, the whole thing. Yeah. That was the confusing thing there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
What was 0.5 called again?
0.5 is lockdown harms and injustices against people. Because you can't do it without being hyperbolic.
Lockdown harms and injustices of people?
Against the people.
Oh, against the people.
Yeah, so the whole infection fatality rate thing is just literally, it's just more of the same. They're just talking about literally the exact same thing as before, except they give us a different median.
IFR median number differs than previous. Previous ones stated
still incorrect.
Stated earlier, and is still incorrect for reasons mentioned above. Again, you can find out via simple math, and then I just want to break down the actual math in this one. So the math.
You could. I feel like this is a point that we don't want to like go too much on though, because the math is something that you can get him on really hard. Like, I don't like. This is a point that's really, really like easy and good to slap him on.
Right.
But I don't think I would want to give him this one. Does that make sense? You can if you want, I guess, but I think that you would be giving him just fodder to either ignore the point completely, or to just essentially to obfuscate it. And if you have him on the spot, it'd be much better. It would just look much worse if he was on the spot trying to like make a reason for it.
Right.
Essentially, you just like he's not going to be able to come back with anything that's like actually substantial because it's just the math is just wrong, right? But the issue is that he can come up with an excuse that will make him look convincing to the people he's convinced, and that's the issue. That like the whole point of having the conversation with him, I think, is to just make people that think highly of him to realize that he's a dumb fuck. And he doesn't need to be correct in order to keep them convinced, But if you have him more on the spot, it just seems better, if that makes sense, I guess.
Right. So to figure out like the IFR that they propose, you take the 0.23% and then you divide it by the number of deaths.
It's just percentile math, essentially. Yeah, like it's
Yeah, so you go 0.23 divided by whatever the number of deaths are.
You take the deaths and then you divide it by 0.0023 because that's how percentile math works. You have to like divide the 0.23 by 100, because you're working backwards.
Right.
And then from
Percentile
there,
math on fractions always fucked me up.
yeah. Well, it gets really confusing when you start working backwards too, right? When you start because the way we're taught percentile math is usually like, oh, this smaller number that fits into this bigger number, and so how does that percent work? And then you have this like memorized formula, but when you have to start working backwards to find one of the first numbers, it's
so essentially take 0.23 divided by 100, you get 0.0023, and then divide it again by the number of deaths.
No, then you take the number of deaths and divide it by that number.
Oh, sorry. Number of deaths, then divide by that number. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Big PP.
I just want to make sure I'm understanding it. So if he does come onto the platform, and we go to like lock him down on this, I don't want to just be like, yeah, what he said. Like if you are like explaining the math.
Oh, you want to know how the math works exactly yourself? Yeah. And the best part about this is that it's very, very simple math, so you can call him a dumb fuck. No, I'm just kidding. Maybe not, but
I probably would.
But we can say this is very, very simple because it is simple math. It's literally, this is like I would expect like maybe a ninth grader to like know percentile math for sure. Probably you could probably go even lower than that though, really, right? Percentile math is extremely like simplistic, and I know that working backwards is more complex, but anybody should be able to like understand this. And the main thing is that like people the scientists that are doing these tests should definitely know how to do percentile math to means test their theories, right? This is the most simple way to like make sure their math is correct and they're just not doing it because it clearly would prove them wrong. So yep, good shit. Yeah, I could send you a let's see, how do I do you have fuck, give me 1 second, sorry. I'm gonna see if there's like a you can see this, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so you look for the deaths first. So deaths divided by the number that he gives us. Yeah. So that will be x divided by 100.
Right.
That's your
formula.
Then
it's just simple bed math.
And then this equals the population required, P. Population required. I'm not going to write that. You know what? Fuck it. P is population required in order, or the amount of infections within a population, essentially required in order for those deaths to make sense with that number. It's very, very, this is so simple. It's so simple.
Sure. I'll show you an easier way that you could have wrote that out.
Is there an easier way to write this? I thought this was the most simple terms.
Watch. I'll show you.
Okay, I'm ready.
You watching, man?
Wait. I gotta hop. I gotta see. We click on this, and then we click on the watch. Okay, I can see.
D divided by.
Yeah.
X divided by 100. Equals P.
Wait, that's exactly what I wrote. You just used a slash.
I'm saying you didn't have to go to Paint. You could have just wrote this out, and I would have understood it.
Oh, that's true. Good point. I did kind of forget that slash means divided, though. To be fair.
That's why I was like, why did he go on Paint to do this? He could have just wrote it out, and I would have understood it.
My brain immediately went to teacher mode, and I was like, I need a whiteboard. I need a whiteboard. That's racist.
Why not a blackboard, Quentin?
Haha! Fucking got him before he got me.
Correct.
Nice. Yeah. So that's the math.
I still have you recorded saying you hate all Jews.
Fuck. He got me.
Okay. Yeah. So that one's like pretty easy point to defend, I would say. And then also like not to mention, like in your COVID, like the ultimate research doc.
Yep.
We can maybe just like link to that about the lockdowns.
Yeah, I'm gonna put this like new study there that I just sent you. That has the school stuff in there. To back that, because that's a point I haven't addressed yet. And then I'm going to let's see, do the math thing. So the math thing is John Ionis or whatever. So the math thing is gonna end up being in a. Kyle, can you quiet down a bit? My brain can't
Shut the
fucking
fuck
handle
up,
right now.
Kyle.
um. Oh my god, my brain. Sorry, I've had a long day. My fucking brain is
Yeah,
wrecked.
you're talking about math, John Ionis.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna put it in the studies to watch out for section because his study specifically does the bad math,
Right.
and that's
Yeah, I'm
how you
also.
explain that it's bad. So that's what I'm
He
gonna do.
literally, since they also literally talked about like New Zealand, the link that we have in like the New Zealand and lockdowns, right?
Yeah, yeah,
I'm gonna just link that as well as like literally I'm just gonna copy and paste the.
yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's a very very easy question. If lockdowns don't work, then explain New Zealand.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
good luck. They can't like that's the thing. Like they could say it's an anomaly, but even then, like, I don't think that's a really good explanation. That's a pretty bold claim. Let's see. Analysis. So that's wrong. Okay, so is there good evidence that lockdowns are required to protect high-risk people? No, several studies have found that more restrictive lockdowns in different international locations were not associated with any clear effect on flattening the curve of cases of deaths. So I think those are the studies that he had linked either before or now. Maybe this is now. I might have read ahead.
This is why I linked the New Zealand portion.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
because it's like it's literally just like.
And we had the Spain one too, right? Like we've had a couple studies.
It defends itself.
Yeah, exactly.
In my opinion,
we have studies that literally
then,
conclude that. So I don't know what he's like. This is just a lie. Like,
yeah.
Or maybe I guess it's not a lie. So maybe studies have found that those lockdowns were not associated with it, but that doesn't mean that lockdowns in general aren't. That just means that these lockdowns weren't. So like maybe this is true. That's fine, but we're spinning a narrative with this. And then they use Sweden as an example here, with schools and businesses open. So Sweden's a really dumb example too, because Sweden, I guess, had bannings of like gatherings and stuff. I think it was small gatherings and large gatherings, maybe. I forget.
It was.
That was like imposed, which is kind of like a lockdown, right? Like it's like a weaker lockdown, right? But it's still a measure that Bob would not be okay with. It's a measure that Bob's like made a lot of fuss about. So using Sweden as an example, we could just be like, oh, do you want Sweden's approach? Do you want us to like like he wouldn't be okay with that still either. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's like, do you want to solve lockdowns? It's like he's obviously gonna say no.
Yeah, he doesn't want this either, right? Like that's the thing. Every example they point to is an example they think that helps them. You just look into it a little bit, and you're like, okay, are you okay with this? Are you okay with that? Like, probably not.
And the issue is like, also it's like with them, it's like, okay, well you can't have your cake and eat it too. Like something has to give here.
Yeah, exactly. So that seems like a pretty good approach on that one, anyways. It's just pointing out that like the places that they use as examples to like disprove very specific things. If you like look at the broad thing, you're like, okay, well they still had an effective response. Why was that? Oh, was it because of this? Was it because of that? And also Sweden ended up So Sweden started out okay, but then I remember reading in one study somewhere that Sweden changed their mind or whatever. I think that was something we were reading yesterday, right? That Sweden changed up later or whatever.
Sweden changed up to go into lockdowns because they were like, hey, our herd immunity isn't working.
That's what it was. It was the herd immunity point, that they tried that and then it wasn't. So yeah. Has cost-benefit analysis demonstrated that lockdowns have more benefits than harms? No, studies find that lockdowns cause far more harm to the population well-being and deaths in the long term than they prevent. Harms include economic recession, unemployment, and loneliness that each reduce population well-being and lifespan. To deny charter freedoms, reasonable limitations are demonstrably are necessary. This requires cost-benefit analysis. So I like once again, I don't think that we necessarily completely disagree with that. There's harms caused by lockdowns, but you can mitigate them. I don't know how many times I have to like make this point again. I think he's just repeating things that he said in the other earlier comments. Yeah. Don't chase counts. Don't lock down. Everybody keep schools open. Lockdowns have led to a tripling of Canadian youth suicide attempts. Okay, so then we start to get into the suicide stuff here, the suicidality stuff. From what I can tell, this I don't. Tripling of Canadian youth suicide attempts. Okay, attempts. So I guess I'd have to look into the studies on this one, maybe. I don't remember. Did he give us studies though? He didn't, did he?
Youth suicide and depression.
Was it this one?
Or there's also student suicides above that one.
I just wanted like a Canadian one. Government, COVID-19, overdoses. New York Times reported rising youth despair. Arizona, North Carolina, CDC, depression. Okay, I don't.
Holy
Oh
fuck!
my
This
god,
site has so many fucking
it's so bad.
pop-up ads.
It's
Like
cringe.
Jesus Christ!
When your conservative fucking
Holy
donors
fuck!
do not give you enough money.
Really?
Okay, this doesn't seem Canadian to me, so I give up on it. I've already read oh my god, did you see that? There was another.
Yeah.
um
Jesus Christ.
I've already read a lot of like the US stuff. I have a general idea on it, and I read some studies on the US stuff. They pretty much say just like to not completely make like straight comparisons between years for the suicide rates, because we haven't, like, it doesn't seem like they've determined exactly what's increasing or whatever. But my prescription anyways, regardless, I don't even really need to read studies. I don't think I can just see that the suicide like attempts, at least for youths and stuff, have increased. There's probably good reasons for that. Whereas like
You are
regular
a
like
nerd.
who was that? Was that you? You fuck. I cannot see the names. It's so annoying. I need to fix that. Oh, it's you. Okay. Very good. This
Oh, it's
motherfucker.
you.
It's you. Yeah, I can't. What's the word? Oh my fuck, my brain. I can't like you can't disagree necessarily, right? Because clearly the suicide attempts have increased. The study I read said that like the suicide rate, I believe, in general, has only increased by like 1.58% or something like that on average. Like
The
it is
13A
marginal.
potato, the 13A Squirtle.
Oh, it reads the thing.
I wanted. Yeah, I was like, I wonder if it will read it or if it will just be like, message.
Yeah.
Very good.
So it seems like it's what's the word? Oh my fuck, my brain. My brain can't handle. Oh my god. I've lost my train of thought. Give me 1 second. Fuck. You can tell I had a long day. My brain's completely fucking mush. The shit's happening. The suicide rates are increasing. It doesn't seem like it's substantial, but it's still something which is important to recognize, and things can be prevented, I think, generally, and that's just their prescription overall will once again just cause more harm than what they're trying to avoid.
Right.
Like by pointing out that like the suicides have increased, it's true, but it's the same prescription we've given before. Removing the lockdowns is like not the only solution. You can just legislate solutions, just give better harm reduction to these vulnerable groups, essentially, right? It might be more difficult, and it's something that has to be considered, that it might be more difficult, right? Like, because I think the suicidality with teenagers has to do with like isolation from friends, and it has to do with like being in like bad home situations and stuff. But I mean, bad home situations would happen to some degree regardless. Maybe it's happening more, but you know,
yeah, and like also like maybe like I know like even like personally like people or students use like school as an escape from like their home lives.
And that's not really like getting you're not attacking the root of the problem, you know?
Yeah.
If the root of the problem is that like the homes are toxic, then you have to address that, right? You can't necessarily always just like get the kids like at school and away from the parents.
You can't just say like, oh, like, you know, we should open up schools again because it helps. It's like, okay, like, yeah, sure, it helps, but the underlying issue is still there. That kid has to go home at some point. They don't live at the school.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm a big fan of like addressing issues at the root of their cause and stuff like that. That's generally why I'm an anti-capitalist. So it kind of just makes sense to me that I don't know.
Where?
This just seems
Oh, you
like a
missed it.
non-answer.
I called my grandmother a Nazi last night.
You called your grandmother a Nazi?
Mhm.
Insane. How did you end up on that? What's the
So
word?
so it went around. She like called because she's like doing mine and Janie's taxes, right?
Okay.
And then my grandma
Wait, she's
for like
doing your
I'm pretty sure
taxes and you called her a Nazi?
yeah.
Insane.
I just call people out. I call it as I see it.
That's fair enough.
Like when have I not called people on their bullshit?
That's true.
Name one time.
You a flamer.
But so like Jamie made the same joke. She's like, "Oh yes, very good. Grandmother does our taxes. You 15 minutes later calls her a Nazi. Very good." And
I just observe.
yeah. So we got on the topic of like I didn't want to get into this topic, but yeah, she's like, "Are you gonna get the vaccine?" And I was like, "Yep."
Oh no.
I was like, "I plan on it."
Yeah.
And she was like, "Cordell," she's like, "Don't do it." Like she was like, "The vaccine is like," she's like, "It's not tested. It's harmful." She's like, "The FDA came out today saying that they're not going to like support the vaccine."
No, these are all lies.
Yeah, and then I was like, well, no, that's true. And then she's like, did you know like 6 out of 10 women are experiencing like blood clots and like menstrual issues? And I was like, a couple of things here, Grandma. I was like, it's 1 out of 6 women experience blood clots. 2, I have a penis between my legs, so I won't have any menstrual issues.
Oh, the statistic is even lower than that, isn't it? It's only it's only it's 6 out of like a million, I think.
It might have been. Last time I looked, it was 1 out of 6.
No, it's 6 out of a million. I know that statistic.
Okay.
Because the blood clot rate for like what the fuck was it? For birth control was like either in the hundreds or thousands per million. So yeah, it was minimalistic. It was almost like non-existent.
Yeah. Like I know the vaccine is like 0.0000006% like fatal, and
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I'm not worried about that. I'm like,
True.
are you worried about like the? And she's like, how many? She's like, what's the recovery rate of like COVID? I was like 95 point whatever, which I was like, if you're not worried about a virus that's 95 point whatever percent recoverable, why are you worried about a vaccine that's 0.00000% 6% fatal?
True. You hit her with the good fucking meme of like, why is everybody afraid of a COVID-19? That's only
And then
fucking memes.
so then we went into she had said something else which brought up George Soros, and I was like, what's
had a feeling this is going on.
Yeah, I was like, what's your guys' obsession with George Soros? I was like, is it because he's rich or is it because he's Jewish? Like, I really don't see
or is it both?
The obsession here. Yeah, and then she's like, do you know the shitty things that George Soros has done? And I was like what? I was like, I've looked up the guy extensively and I can't find anything that demonizes him. And then she was like, did you know that like he used to work for the Nazis when he was like 14 and he would go into Jewish homes and steal their like belongings, like their valuables? And I was like,
nope.
Yeah, because the Nazis. I was like, we're going to like play along with this here. Okay. And I was like, if he did that, I was like, the Nazis were like, hey, go into this house and steal those valuable belongings, or we'll kill you.
True.
I was like, anyone would listen to that.
I looked up that one too, and I think he was like 7 years old when like the Nazis took over. So like that one was very easily debunked. Yeah. He was super young.
And so
continue. I'm gonna look up stuff while you.
Yeah, she was like, what else did she say? She was, oh yeah. So she was like, I was like, you haven't answered my question. Is it the fact that he's rich, or is it the fact that he's Jewish? Like, I don't understand here. Like,
which one is it?
I was like, if it's the fact that he's Jewish, just own the fact that you're a fucking Nazi. I was like, if it's the fact that he's rich, then own the fact that you don't like capitalism, and we can both agree on this point.
True.
And then she's like, there's nothing wrong with our system of capitalism. She's like, it's great. And I was like, is it? Is it really?
That's the issue with these people, though, right? Is that they complain about what they call corporate capitalism, but they don't understand that that's like the what's the word?
Literally what capitalism is.
Yeah, it's literally like the unavoidable conclusion of what capitalism does, right? Like especially laissez-faire free market capitalism. It's unavoidable if you have like less restrictions and stuff, and then the goal of the economy or whatever is for you to like make money and then make more money and accrue capital, and then like and that's just what happens. People make lots of money and then they use their money to influence. Like there's nothing really complicated to understand about this. So if you don't like that, then you have to not like capitalism. But these people are just convinced, man. Like, oh.
Yeah, and then we, and then she, I also called her a colonizer.
Damn, you went fucking full out.
Because then we got into like the problem of like she was just like she was saying that like, oh, like the Trudeaus are in cahoots with like the Rockefellers and like importing Saudi oil to like bankrupt Canada, and I was like, it's literally just because no one wants Canadian crude oil. This is how deep the rabbit hole goes, dude.
It's so dumb, dude.
That's
why would
so
the
dumb.
Canadian government fuck their own ability to make money? They're literally paid by taxpayers. Why would they destroy the economy? That would be self-destructive.
Because, Quentin, the Trudeaus are getting money from the Saudi oil. They don't need taxpayers. They want to keep us under the poverty line. Like it's so fucked. And so I was like, if anything, if the Trudeau family is linked to Saudi oil, congratulations on them for diversifying their budget. Like, I don't see a problem with that. Like we should have probably done the same, but no one thought about doing that. Like, and then she was.
Don't you want your gas at the pump to be cheaper, dumb fuck?
Literally. And then she was like, well, because she's like, no one's refining Canadian oil. I'm like, yeah, because no one wants Canadian oil. Like, and she's like, everyone wants Canadian oil. I was like, if everyone wants Canadian oil, why the fuck is no one buying it?
I believe we do refine like a good amount of our oil here too. We mostly export a majority of our oil. I believe it's like 25% of like what we produce is like all we need to meet our own demand. We're like a majority like export or oil exporter.
Yeah, literally. And then I was like, and then I was like, she was like, well, why don't we refine our oil here? I was like, because we don't have refineries. Because while the States and the rest of the world is building refineries, Harper was like, hey, let's just keep sending our oil down to the States.
Yeah, they just picked the quick fix essentially, right? It's pretty simple.
And then
it's also like supply and demand too, right? Like there's everyone else like ramped up their supply to meet the demand of the world, and now the world is kind of at this like steady pace of like oil use, and there's not really like like if we were to just start producing more of our own oil or refining more of our own oil, it would just end up in barrels just sitting, like it would just do nothing, right? It would end up in storage
it would just
because
saturate
there's not enough
dude.
demand. Yeah, like it just doesn't make sense.
And then I brought up that point, and then she was like, don't get me started on Harper. She's like, Harper was barely a conservative, and I was like,
no.
What?
Oh no.
I was like, Harper was such a conservative, and then she was like, no, she's like, Harper was the one who got us to sign on to the UN, which is like a huge crock of shit. And then she brought in, she's like, did you know that they're passing a bill that's going to let any Native person lay claim to land? I was like, you mean land that was originally theirs? And she was like, it was not theirs. She's like the natives, she's like, the natives didn't have any pre-existing borders, or like, she's like, they were all like free wandering nomads. I was like, oh, so you're a colonizer. You're also a colonizer. I was like, cool.
You hit the jackpot with this conversation. What the fuck? This debate sounds legendary. What the hell?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Does she literally just watch Mark?
Point.
Because this is just like, you've literally prepared for this entire conversation with your fucking, was it your grandma?
Yeah.
With your grandma by just talking to Mark. This is insane.
Well, and I told her that too. Like, I was like, all this stuff you're saying is just useless, like conjecture. Because I was like, I've literally had Mark, or I was like, I've had talks with Mark Friesen, and then she was like, oh, she's like, I know Mark. He's a really guy. He knows what he's talking about. And I was like, oh my fuck. I was like, I have to go. I was like, I love you, but I have to go.
Your grandma's beyond saving. You know that, right?
I was like, oh no, I know. I was like, I'm gonna start yelling. Like, I was already yelling. I was gonna like. Oh, sorry. I had my voice raised, but I was like, I'm going to go, or else I'm going to literally start yelling.
I feel it. Oh my god. The amount of dumb fuckery it takes to get to that point is just beyond me. I cannot even.
Oh, literally. And then she was just like, do you know that? She's like, we all have rights that the Creator has given us. And I was like,
She's talking about
Grandma,
God.
I was like, just stop. I was like, please, just stop.
Fuck. It kills
Like
me.
I,
So okay, so here's
I
a really
wish
quick
I
way to
could
debunk
have.
that one. Like, okay, so where are those rights when you go to like Israel or like when you go to like Saudi Arabia, huh?
Literally.
If these are God-given rights that everybody is like given like the like that's like bestowed upon everybody, then why do other countries just like not have these rights implemented?
Where
And
are
also
these
even
rights when you go
Canada
to
too, right?
China?
Like,
Like,
yeah. I don't know, dude.
and then she was just like, she's like, we have the right to freely move within our country. I was like, if God gave us those rights, countries weren't around back then.
Oh,
And
yeah,
then,
yeah, you could
and then
just say
she,
oh, you're for no borders then?
literally, and then she
That'll
brought
fuck with
up
her.
this is how deep it went into the conversation. She brought up the fact that like natives aren't even originally from North America. They're from like parts of like Russia back when the world was Pangea. And I was
Wait,
like, Grandma, I was
all
like, I
humans are
gotta
from
stop.
Africa, you dumb fuck. What do you mean? Of
Literally,
course they're
I
not
was
from
like,
here.
I was like, Grandma, I was like, I gotta go. I was like, I can't anymore.
This is insane. That's 10 billion IQ. What point are you even trying to make when you say things like that? It's just completely
Oh,
useless information.
the point that they have no claim to this land because they're not originally from here, as like the world would believe. And I was like,
Wait, so what gives...
they were here before us. That's
my
the
fuck.
point I'm making.
That's literally all it is. It's just like it's just basic. All you have to do to get these people into this one is just give them the property rights argument. That's pretty much it. You just explain to them, okay, are you for property rights? Do you agree with property rights? Yeah? Like, you have your house, someone can't come into your house and like fucking tear it down and build a pipeline if they want to. They have to like get your permission, blah blah blah. They'll never like they'll agree with all those points, right? Of course they'll probably actually just try and avoid answering the questions. But and then you just like very easily just move forward from that and you go like, yeah, like so seems fine for them to like reject pipelines and stuff because that's their property. Oh my fuck.
Oh, I just nailed her with the fact that I was like, okay, so I was like, if you have no problems with white people doing that to First Nations or Indigenous people, I was like, I can't wait for Canada to get invaded and
True.
for you to absolutely just lay down and let it happen because you're all for it.
Yep, exactly. Yep.
Like,
That's literally it.
I hope another country just comes into Canada and starts pillaging our resources and raping our women and killing our men and children.
Yeah,
Because
because us being
exactly
here first
what we did.
doesn't matter at all. China can come. China can come and take Canada.
Literally. And then she
Oh,
was just
fuck.
like, she's like, I can't believe you would say that. And I was like, that's literally just what you said. I was like, I'm just relaying what you said, but in a different context.
You have no logical consistency.
Yeah.
Fuck.
And then she sent me some emails on stuff here. I'll pull them up actually. Or I can send you the links. I can send you the links of like she sent me like some documentaries or something like that. Like I don't even.
She sent you
know.
propaganda,
The
baby.
YouTube,
That's what she sent you.
YouTube. It's from YouTube.
Oh, yeah,
Or sorry, one's from plandemicseries.com and the other one is from YouTube. George Soros exposed,
course
the
it
puppet
is.
master Glenn Beck.
I'm really entertained that you
fuck.
called her a Nazi.
Oh fuck
meme.
this shit, dude! I can't even with this
10
stuff. I'm
billion.
gonna forward this stuff to you so that you can. Oh no, I don't want to reply. I don't want to reply. Get me out of here.
Is this you? Wait.
And I haven't forward to. Do you want? Forward it to your Novus. Yeah. Forward it to Novus at Gmail. Send. And then where's the other one?
Insane. Yeah, this thing here too for the Soros is not a Nazi thing. What is it? So Soros would not have met the age requirements to be in the Schutzstaffel. I don't know what that word means, but probably just means Nazi.
Were you reading?
It's on my stream thing. If you like in the Discord.
By the time Soros would not have met the age requirements to be in the Schutzstaffel.
Schutzstaffel. Soros and his family were Hungarian Jews. Jews.
Yeah.
He's literally a Jew.
Literally.
Fuck.
Safety.
So in 1947 he was 17.
Yeah.
Yeah, so by the time Soros was 17,
Which
the
was
fall
active
of...
between 1920 and 1945. Yeah.
Yeah, so Nazi Germany fell when he was 17. How
Yeah.
the fuck was he involved in any kind of Nazi stuff? This is like how fucking dumb they are, dude. Insane. So gullible. I think this is probably why Mark hasn't mentioned that, like, Soros is a Nazi, though, because this one's so easily debunkable. But
Yeah.
clearly your grandma fell for it and was willing to die on that hill,
if
so...
he did say that Soros was a Nazi, then I feel like we just counter and be like, "Well, are you a Nazi?"
True.
Or I'd be like, "Well, if you're a free speech absolutist, then you should have no problem with what Soros says."
Yeah, just go up on the stage and debunk him, dumb fuck.
Right? Like
Yikes.
yeah, so that's how my evening went yesterday.
That's a wild time, son.
I just wanted to
Goddamn.
eat my pizza, then my grandma phoned me and I was like, "Oh boy."
Oh boy.
Like, oh fuck.
Yeah, that's a big conversation. I'm sad that wasn't on stream. That could have been really entertaining.
Oh,
well.
dude, that
It's
was
probably
on
almost
stream.
just as much brain rotting as entertaining too, though. So.
Literally, if I was on stream, I would have been like, "I have to end my stream. Goodbye, everyone."
Very good.
So
speaking
love
of
my grandma
ending-
to death, but
Lamau. Yeah, so back to the suicide stuff, I guess here. So yeah, I think the conclusion here is that is that ending the lockdowns just to like stop suicide rates is not the only option again.
yeah. So
That's pretty much it.
I guess so.
You can also,
ending-
surprisingly enough, you can also address suicide rates with resources.
ending lockdowns
Strange.
just to stop suicide rates. What did we say? Ending lockdowns to stop suicide rates is improbable.
No, it's just what's the word? It results in more harm.
Oh, yeah, it results in more harm.
And then you could do
due
like
to
brackets, like deaths from
COVID.
deaths from COVID-19, essentially, kind of thing. You know, like just
More
in general.
harm, death from COVID-19.
And then end bracket. And then you could say
Also,
you can address
here.
you can if you want to be quippy about it, you can say surprisingly you can address suicide rates with resources.
Suicide rates with resources. Winky face.
Winky face. Fucking wild. It's almost like you can do things.
Right?
All his fucking links, all his delinkies.
6.
Yeah, I think this is pretty much it for this. Charter freedoms, don't chase, lockdowns, tripling, youth admitted, tripled, depression and drug abuse went through the roof. Same kind of thing, right? Parts of Wisconsin, certain students. Okay, lockdown harms, and then this part, I haven't read this yet, I don't think. Not only in Alberta, an Ontario Canadian doctor speaks out. Randy Hillier, you're seeing more people in emergency in the hospital where you work at who are there because of the consequences of our COVID policies. You see more of them than actual COVID patients. And then Dr. Phillips says, oh, absolutely. And what I've touched on so far is just some of the physical health consequences that I've seen. It's not even touching on some of the mental health. Okay, so just talking about how there's downsides to this again. Sure. So Canada's probably falling short on helping these people who are disproportionately affected by the lockdowns. Cool. So we should do more to help them, not just end lockdowns.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah.
Right.
We're in dangerous times, not from COVID, from government policies, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Carpe, that's the guy that we watched just fucking speak in Edmonton or whatever. That we replied to or whatever, or we kind of like responded to. And then, okay, number 6, the silencing of doctors and nurses. This one should be interesting. Doctors, this is not one that people like people talk about this one a lot, but it's not a point that's usually like argued very much. Doctors and nurses are being threatened to be fired if they speak up to tell the truth of it all. What does this speak to? Lies continue to be told by Kenny Hinshaw and mainstream media, brainwashing people to fear of it all. Daniel Smith to Jason Kenny. I've received just some alarming emails from doctors and nurses telling me that they are not allowed to challenge the conventional view out there. They're not allowed to talk to Dr. Hinshaw on the threat of not having their contract renewed. So that's kind of just something separate. Not having their contract renewed has nothing to do with the pandemic. That's just to do with the fucking government being trash. So that's like, yeah, hearsay, I guess. On threat of being fired, was that you? And then there's this abomination of non-impartiality within our courts. Outrageous. Court permits government to avoid producing Dr. Hinshaw's evidence on lockdowns at May 3rd trial of Pastor James Cotes. I'm pretty angry at the lack of transparency from our government. In general, so sure, maybe we should be producing the evidence. I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily the Hinshaw has her own evidence though. Hinshaw just goes off of the global evidence, right? It'd probably be nice if they would compile it if they're gonna go through it, and just throw it on the government website and be like, hey, here's the trials for anyone who wants to look into it or whatever kind of thing, or here's the studies, blah blah blah. So sure, I don't think that I really care much to argue against that point. I am all for transparency. That is one of the most important things to me in general, especially for a functioning, healthy democracy. Transparency is fucking vital. So this may be one of the only points that I can really agree with them on, but of course I'm just agreeing on the principle of the point. I'm not agreeing on their prescription after they make the point, right? Or what they're using this point to support. So yeah, transparency is good. I don't know, that's pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. So, transparency is good. We can agree that the government should compile and release the evidence.
Or rather just...
However...
Yeah.
Just because the government is withholding said evidence does not mean that something sinister is going on behind the curtains.
Yeah, that's true. It's not just because we don't have the evidence because they're not saying anything doesn't necessarily mean that bad things are happening. It's possible. Anything's possible. I can't deny that. But it's that's not evidence.
Don't squat with your spurs on.
True. I don't know what that means, but okay. With my aren't spurs on boots?
Yeah, spurs are on cowboy boots.
Don't squat with your spurs on.
It's how you poke yourself in the ass or the coochie if you're a woman.
Ooh, not good. Well, luckily I ain't that hillbilly. We golden.
I would be lying if I said I've never worn cowboy boots with spurs on them.
Unbelievable. I feel like that must be almost unavoidable when you live in Alberta, though, right? But somehow I've avoided it.
True. I mean, I also grew up on a farm with horses.
That's fair. That makes you much higher likelihood of What's the point of spurs, by the way? What the hell is the point?
It's kind of it's to kind of dig into the animal to kind of make them go faster. Essentially, you know how how people smack the horse's ass kind of thing to get it to go. Kind of does the same thing. You give it a little jolt, be like, hey, let's go.
Okay, I get it. Fair enough. I guess.
At least that's what we used them for whenever we would go riding.
No, that makes sense. That seems like a functional property, I guess, of it. Yeah.
Is I think also kind of maybe frowned upon a little bit, just because there are other means. There are other means to it, but some horses are just trained that way, so it's
yeah, it's just a method of doing it essentially.
Yeah. I think we can all be in agreement that it might be a shitty method or there's better methods, but it is still a method that people use. True. I think it's much more traditional method.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's really anything else I want to say for point 6 because it's It's
Yeah.
like, transparency is good. We can agree that the government should compile and
I
release the
come
evidence.
to you guys for your
there's no
dedication on
argument about
debunking and solid Spurs knowledge.
dedication.
We got the best Spurs knowledge here in Alberta, let me tell you.
Hell yeah. We eat, drink, and sleep Spurs. Let's go.
We do. Spurs cereal,
but yeah,
baby.
it's like I think the government should compile and release the evidence. But then also, like, just because the government is withholding said evidence doesn't mean that something negative is going on. And also the fact that, like, they can't prove whether or not that those doctors are not allowed to talk to Dr. Hinshaw. And if they do, they won't have their contract renewed. Like, I don't think there's any way.
Well,
to
yeah,
prove
the contract
that
renewal thing has nothing to
happened.
do with like COVID-19. That just has to do with like Kenny's government being trash. Like, it's completely unrelated.
Contract renewal has very little, if anything, to do about COVID-19, and more so about Kenny's failure to provide doctors with existing contracts.
It's doctors and nurses, yeah.
Doctors and nurses with
it's more with like meaningful what's the word, negotiations for contracts. You know.
Awesome.
Also, shout out to Homeless Rhino for checking in for a third consecutive
True.
What's it called? Very boring stream.
Homeless Rhino is the VIP. Just
the VIP.
Wait till you come back and like see us on like our good streams. Not saying that these are necessarily bad streams, but they are, as you said, definitely lackluster.
Yeah, it's just like a research stream, right? So it's pretty. I guess it's research debunking, so we kind of trash talk a little bit. It's fun. We have fun.
But hopefully, once we send this out to Bob Leon, he'll come on our platform.
That would be the goal.
And he'll bring a good amount of people with him, and we can call him an idiot publicly.
True. Please. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I don't know. Like, I've seen lots of the arguments before about like doctors and nurses complaining. It seems mostly that they're complaining about like their place of work just kind of being like, I don't know, doing bad things. I don't really like know if this has anything to do with like much of.
Well, it's
like
also
it's like maybe their workplace is just shitty then, right? You know, I don't know. Like,
true. It's also when we talk to Mark about this too. Like, it's like you can't prove that anything is happening behind the scenes. Like, just because someone is on the payroll or something like that, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're being paid off. Like, the amount of people that you would have to pay. You don't know how many doctors and nurses there are in Alberta.
Oh yeah, that's the exact thing. Yeah, you'd have to pay off like all these people to like keep this mass conspiracy a secret. It's impossible. It's just what you're asking for is like statistically like no.
Let's just see here.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's kind of that, I guess, for that point. I don't know. It just seems very anecdotal. I guess we can move on to point 7.
Okay, so in 2019,
yep,
there is a total of 11,120 physicians registered in Alberta, and in 2020 we saw we had lost 32, but overall there were 172 more doctors registered, which means it equals out to there's 140 more doctors. So you were sitting at 11,260 doctors or physicians registered in Alberta. That's not even nurses. That's just physicians.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, right? that's just a large amount of.
You're gonna tell me average doctor salary in Alberta. The average doctor salary in Alberta is like your average family doctor is over $300,000.
Yeah, it's an insane amount of money, right?
According to the CIHI.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that the government is willing to pay, if we just go and do simple math here, because we know that there is 11,000.
Yeah, that's a lot of money, dude. Well, they wouldn't pay the whole
260.
salary, though. You have to keep in mind that they wouldn't just pay the whole salary. It would be some
No,
random
but
number.
you like doctors would be like, I already make $300,000 a year, so it's like you're gonna have to pay me out, I would say, a substantial amount of money.
Sure, some amount, but it's just really arbitrary. We'd never be able to settle on a number.
But
we just know that it's
I'm
huge.
saying like the government is already paying 3.378 to the 9. What is that? 9 decimal, or how many zeros is 9?
How many zeros is 9? 9.
Yeah. No. Like, so it's like
Got
3
him.
is 100, 6 is 100,000, and then 9 would be a million. So the government is already paying $3.37 million to doctors.
Yeah, at like a minimum.
Yeah, at a minimum. So you're telling me that the government is like, oh yeah, let's just probably tack on, like, even the government was to pay, let's say, $100,000.
Yep.
Right, which is like very, very low. The government is still paying an extra $1.12 million on top of that.
Yeah, and if it's the government that's like paying it, then you would have paper trails, right? That's just the thing. Like,
literally, like
you
can
can't
see
dispute
it.
that. This would be like major headline news everywhere that like suddenly doctors are getting like all this much more money, whatever. Like this just seems
Literally,
to be like an
it
insane
would be
point.
reported on. You can't just like be like, oh, it's happening, but then not provide any evidence, because it's like, what?
I feel like this is the easiest point to dispute because it's just so fucking baseless.
Literally,
I don't know. It just seems really dumb.
I don't think number 7 is actually a point. It just says Dr. Dennis Modry secondary.
Oh, that's right. Number 7. I've read this before. This is what he posted this number 7 point on the general forum before, and I just commented and I was like, what did I say? I said, Dr. Hinshaw is a pathologist. Dr. Modry is a fucking heart surgeon.
Literally.
Why the fuck do I care what they think about COVID-19 at all?
I'm just gonna go.
Please tell
number
me.
7,
And the status got deleted or something. It was pretty great.
Dr. Dennis Modry is not an...
Wait. Do you want to go with a curiosity here? I don't know exactly what your aim is with this meme, but you have two options here. You can either be very like a direct in your approach and just be like, Modry is a heart surgeon, Hodgkinson is a pathologist. I don't care what these people say. Or you can do the meme. You don't have to do the meme. You can do the meme.
I want a meme,
and
but
just
the fact
be like,
that I'm going to be posting this, the fact that I'm posting this publicly, I want
that's
to.
Right. That's right. Okay, that's right.
So I'm going to say like, Dr. Dennis Modry is not an appropriate authority.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say is the meme. But I was just gonna say that you could just short form it and just be like, nice appeal to authority. Idiot.
So Dr. Dennis Modry is not an appropriate authority.
You could just compile, and same with Hodgkinson.
Dr. Robert, right?
Let me see. Roger. Hodgkinson.
Neither is Dr. Robert Hodgkinson.
Roger.
Yeah, that's what I said. Dr. Roger Hodgkinson.
Oh, I thought you said Robert again. Fuck. Roberto.
Modry is a heart... what's the word I'm looking for here? Heart surgeon?
Yeah, heart surgeon. General surgery. I guess he's just general. He's famous for heart surgery, but yeah, he's a surgeon.
He's a general surgeon, most notably for his work on hearts and Hodgkinson is a pathologist.
Oh, it's heart and lungs, sorry.
Hodgkin's a pathologist, though, yeah?
Yeah, Hodgkinson's a pathologist.
Hearts and
Yeah, this whole section too. This is
and Hodgkin is a pathologist.
Yeah, pathologist.
Neither of them are epidemiologists. Nice appeal to appropriate authority.
No, just say authority. It's only fallacious
nice
if it's an inappropriate authority. So when you say appeal to authority, you're referring to the fallacy.
Okay, so Dr. Dennis Modry is not an appropriate authority. Neither is Dr. Robert Hodgkinson. Modry is a general surgeon, most notably. Oh, yeah, Dr.
I swear you said Robert.
Hodgkinson.
I swear. I'm not crazy, okay?
Dr.
I swear.
Roger Hodgkinson. Modry is a general surgeon, most notably for his work on hearts and lungs, and Hodgkinson is a pathologist. Neither of them are epidemiologists. Nice appeal to authority.
Got them got them cheeks clapped, son.
Got them
cleeps chapped,
son.
Beautiful. Yep.
All right.
Debunked. Got him. This whole last point is so fucking boring too. It's literally just like a little conversation with a couple of these people where they're like, the restrictions are bad, zero evidence, things are false, and then they're complaining about Alberta responses and stuff, and then of course it's very much of the same as above, where they make like very bold claims without like backing any other points, and then they appeal to like their own authority essentially, right? Which is completely useless. And then he goes on to fluff them and talk about like literally like just like a brief dive into this. Dr. Modry implemented Western Canada's first heart and lung transplantation program and performed the first heart transplant in July 1985. The first combined transplant of the heart with both lungs in August 1986. So it's literally just like his what is it?
Yeah, why do I care about this though?
Yeah, it's just fluffing. All he's doing is like talking about like how accomplished these people are, as if any accomplished person is suddenly like void of like imperfection. On top of the fact that like their what's it called, their field of practice is like doesn't give them the information or the authority required to like know anything that's going on with pandemic related stuff anyways. So
I sent you the Word doc in the links on Discord if you want to take a look at it.
Yeah, sure, because I guess we're done going over this. You sent it in the links channel?
Yep, sent it in the links channel. I don't know, where are you?
Oh, there it is. I didn't see it because I scrolled down. Okay, let's see. Fuck, where'd it go?
It's downloading.
Thanks.
It's in the bottom left.
Bob. You should change that to Bobbeth.
Bobbeth.
I'm writing this message in response to the short conversation that we had in the general forum. I will be posting this text in the general forum, just letting you know.
I'm making this very well known.
Hell yeah. Epidemiological global serology. Professor John I. Work. Wait, Professor. Oh, John I. Oh, here we could.
Wait, why did it change it like that, Professor?
Well, it's
John.
because we've referred to him as John I.
There we go, Professor John.
We could put his whole name if you want, but
no, I'm just gonna put Professor John. Okay. Work was cited. Blah blah blah. Keep going.
Which goes against your opening statement, which states, and I quote, "And do we hear from governments, politicians, or mainstream media?" Average lifespan in Canada is 81.95 years. Most deaths via COVID-19 are above the age of 80 years old, but this still leaves 31.2% of deaths under the average death still. Oh,
what was 0.4 again?
What was 0.4? From him?
Yeah, I didn't put no. I didn't put a title in it.
It was the school stuff here. 1 second, I'll go back to it.
That's why we proofread, baby.
True.
What did he call
COVID
it?
school.
Oh, right there. COVID
Epidemiological
school,
research.
COVID epidemiological research.
Yummy.
There we go. Okay.
Algie?
Yeah, feel free to keep reading now.
Okay, cool. We continue. Oh fuck, where to go? Is it? Oh, it's open here. Okay. Okay, yeah. So the average lifespan in Canada is 81.95 years. So you copy pasted that.
Yeah.
The point we were addressing with that specifically was just that they what's the word? They always point to like 70 years and younger is like there's like no chance of death or whatever kind of thing, I guess. So you could just like add that in there, just be like talking about like the 70 years or younger kind of point, and leaving out the fact that like 31.2% of deaths are under the age of like, what is it, 80?
Talking about your point that 70.
Fuck, I'm wording that really badly. Sorry. Let me think. In regards to the infection fatality rate, in regards to the IFR of people under 70 being 0.05%.
In regards to the IFR of people over 70?
No, under 70.
Under 70?
Yeah.
People under 70 being 0.05?
Yeah, 0.05, which I think I'll double check that number, but in regards to that, your point, what's the word? Oh my fuck. Oh, how do I word this? Your point delegitimizes the or attempts to delegitimize. Sorry.
Your point attempts to delegitimize. Your point attempts to delegitimize.
To delegitimize the oh, what's the word? I guess the real world threat of COVID-19 on younger people, I guess. And then you could say, I don't know, like something along those lines, I guess. I don't know. Like, I don't really know how to word this, right? It's just like, because unfortunately, like the copy, like I guess if you want to, the copy pasted thing from the word or from the document like works, but it just kind of feels like random, you know. If I'm some random like person that's like reading off the general form, like just reading that like random statement just seems, I don't know, it seems weird, but I guess that's what he does, so maybe that's fine. I don't know, you know.
Okay, well, I added it anyways. I was saying, in regards to the IFR of people being under 70%. Oh, sorry. In regards to the IFR of people under 70 being 0.05, your point attempts to delegitimize the real world threats, the real world threat of COVID-19 among young people.
Ooh, I have a better way to encompass the entire point. Erase everything you just said, and then just add to the start of the sentence where it says average lifespan in Canada is
13Army. I couldn't
years.
find your Twitch channel, but thanks to Nova's stream, your comment is in the chat and I know how to spell it. I followed. Smiley face.
Oh,
amazing.
Fucking thank you. Thank
the
you.
Supreme.
Rhino. That is the big PP plays.
Thank you, Rhino. That is the big PP plays.
Amazing.
Okay, so
yeah, so at the start of that sentence, just put in regards to the point about what is it? Or in regards to the IFR of people under 70.
Hold on.
Just put that.
In regards to the people. Oh, hold on.
In regards to the IFR.
The IFR
Of people
IFR,
of people under 70.
so under 70.
And then comma space.
Comma space.
And then
Average
it should
lifespan
just
in
say like
Canada.
the rest of the point there, which is average lifespan in
Yeah.
Canada. So essentially it makes that point like an answer to his thing, which sounds much better
Right.
that way. Because then you end
Okay.
off the sentence with, but this leaves 31.2% of deaths under the average age of death still.
Right. Okay. So we keep going.
John's sample wasn't an accurate representation of the population because the recruitment methods were inadequate to say the least. And then, if you want, I could send you a link to put here, I guess.
Just read the next point.
Oh, okay. The main problem with this is the message that was sent out to bring in the sample population stated that the people could return to work without fear. That's an issue because it likely creates non-probability sampling. In
And then
addition
it
to the
links
study you
to-
provided, and then blank, we believe that, yes, similar reduction in case growth may be achievable with less restrictive interventions, with mass surveillance testing and backward contact tracing in countries that actually consider such things to be less restrictive and would actually comply with other measures such as wearing masks and not gathering indoors with strangers beyond what's necessary, and tell contact tracers the truth. In the U.S., lots of people actively lie to deceive contact tracers because they've been convinced it's a leftist plot. Oh, I would remove the leftist plot point.
You remove that?
I would remove that, yeah. That feels like baseless conjecture to me. Lots of people actively lie and deceive contact tracers. I don't like... I would reject that
Okay.
statement in its whole.
Okay, so I'm just saying
'Cause it's just not
contact tracers
provable.
the truth, which I would say goes against your extreme position that lockdowns aren't effective.
Yeah, okay, so I need to read that one more time to try and understand what I'm reading. We believe that, yes, similar reduction in case growth may be achievable with the structure with master... okay. We believe that, yes, similar reductions in case growth may be achievable with less restrictive interventions. Oh, so you're saying, yes, that's true. With massive surveillance testing and backward contact tracing in
Yeah.
countries that actually consider such things to be less restrictive and would actually comply with other measures. Okay, yeah. Also, you could remove that part where it says, and tell contact tracers the truth. That whole part of that sentence. Fuck that whole sentence. I don't want to go out accusing, like, the contact tracing, like, math of being wrong. That seems like completely baseless conjecture to me.
Right.
I just don't want to engage in the same tactics that he uses. It just seems dumb.
Okay.
Which I would say goes against your extreme... Okay, yeah, cool, perfect. That seems pretty funny.
Cool.
Which I would say goes against your extreme position that lockdowns aren't effective. You could even say, because I guess we're not necessarily, like, saying that lockdown... Or, I guess, how do we word this? We're more saying that, like, that he's not okay with, like, the other measures either. When he complains about lockdowns, like, our point is mostly just like that.
That's why I'm leaving it like open to interpretation, because I want him to come on to the stream or whatever and say,
Oh,
like,
okay, so that's the point we'd
lockdowns
rather...
aren't effective
Right.
because this reason. It's like, okay, well, it's like, if you say that lockdowns aren't effective, then are you okay with, like, quote unquote less restrictive measures such as, like, massive surveillance testing, backward contact tracing?
Okay,
Because,
so,
like, I
so
feel
you'd
like
rather
it's
hit
really
him
easy.
with this one in person is what you're saying. This is another
Yeah.
one where it's like a
Yeah.
rhetorical, like, strategy. You don't want
the
him
whole,
to fucking
the
weasel
whole
out of this one.
point, The whole point of, like I said this yesterday, the whole point of what I want this document to do is I want it to be a bait and switch tactic.
Yeah.
The whole thing. Because this, leaving it like that, it leaves it very much open to the interpretation that he could be like, oh, I'm going to come on your stream and make you look like an idiot being like, lockdowns aren't effective because this, and this. And it's like, okay, but what if we did less restrictive tactics, but we increased mass surveillance testing, we increased our backward contact tracing,
Yeah.
all these other things? Like, is that better?
We had
than
bannings
telling
on
people
social
to
gatherings
wear-
like Sweden did.
Yeah, exactly. Because
Are you okay with
how
that?
does he defend that in person?
No, he can't.
On the
He won't.
spot.
Like, we even point to the countries that, like, he like thinks are better, and those are still not something that he wants. So yeah,
Literally.
exactly. No, totally. Yeah, okay, I agree. Simple means testing of the math concludes that the population using John's fatality rate of 0.13% concludes that the amount of people required to have been infected by COVID-19 does not exist in the populations measured. Yeah, so this just seems like, so the reason why I worded this way, because this is the math thing again, right? I wanted it to be correct, but fucking hard to understand. You know, I wanted to make simple math very difficult for him to understand here, so that he probably isn't going to understand what we're saying here, even though this is correct. And then we can explain the simple math to him in person.
Yeah, exactly. And then we'll make him look like an idiot for not understanding simple math.
True. So that's cool, anyways. But and mostly just that, yeah. Like, once again, just the importance of like catching people with their pants down, I guess. PCR testing. CT of 24 or lower means specifically that the infected individual is likely contagious, according to the study cited. Your links, not mine. No study claimed that a CT over 24 is a false positive. Read your studies. Amazing. Alberta uses a CT value of 35. There you go. Your entire prescription is non sequitur, as proven by study cited, and your clear misunderstanding of how cycle threshold works. Beautiful. Dr. Robert Hodgkinson is not an epidemiologist, but rather a pathologist. PCR testing is the gold standard that we have available right now. The actual number of false positives is a rate less than 0.01 as cited. Perfect. Yeah, just short, concise. As for the lockdown points, how do you explain places like China and New Zealand? If you are going to make a statement that lockdowns don't work, then you have to have a study that includes places where they implemented full lockdowns. Otherwise, your findings will be biased. Okay, cool, perfect. I think we can agree that lockdowns can have terrible consequences, but these can be mitigated through proper legislation. Beautiful. So yeah, now we're making our prescriptions here, which is great. We can put a couple of our prescriptions in there, which paints a broad picture of like what our positions are, which is good.
Right.
Because then we can be like, this was my position all along. You can read the thing. You know, it's good. Yeah. It's good to have on top of the fact that we have our streams right now that you could go back to and just like clip from too, right, to see our clear positions, and that we're not going to change our positions.
Come onto our stream and say like, oh, you guys are just all for lockdowns because you want to restrict people. It's like, no, that's not what we want to do, obviously.
Or that he thinks we're ignoring the fact that there's harms of lockdowns, which a lot of people just seem to think that left-leaning people do or whatever. Or just like people who are for lockdowns in general. They think that we don't understand there's downsides.
Yeah, it's like, obviously there are downsides, but we also think that those downsides don't outweigh the positives of having lockdowns, which the positives of having lockdowns is COVID not running rampant through our streets.
Yeah, well, it depends, right? It's possible that those downsides could outweigh the positives that you get from a lockdown. It does seem like lockdowns do have like smaller effects. It depends. Like so New Zealand and China had really like early intervention lockdowns. That's the most effective way to do it. Then you have a really good like effective rate. Later on, they become like less effective if you let the pandemic spread already, kind of thing. Because the lockdowns specifically are like a circuit breaker tactic. The point is to stop it before it even begins, and that's the number one best way to approach the spread of disease in general. If you can just stop it right from the get-go, and then create like an isolated environment where there's just none of that disease, then you can just go on living your life free, right? That's why we want to argue for lockdowns, because they're clearly effective when done properly. But we see the merit in lockdowns later on. We just have to make sure that there is legislation to protect people. If, for example, if Canada didn't have CERB to like help people who were laid off, then I would probably be a lot more like angry at the downsides for the lockdowns. However, I would still point my anger at the government and be like, where's your policy? You know? It's all about like proper answers, I guess, kind of thing. So
right.
Mortality research. We have excess of 7,500 deaths. Your point claiming that PCR testing is creating misclassification of deaths is just strictly wrong, because it doesn't account for the excess deaths. As mentioned above, again, here is a link government data. Amazing. The study cited has been found to reduce COVID-19 incidence and mortality by 60%. Beautiful. And this is a study based on what? Oh, is this the same study that I was reading?
Yeah, that's the one that you linked to me. I wanted to keep this one really like short and sweet.
Oh, no way. This is a study that I already put in my fucking document. I'm such an idiot. I didn't read it more. This is probably where I got the school thing from, because I know I read it before. Probably. I just didn't include that point. Fucking big brain. Okay, cool. Bonk. Lockdown harms and injustices against the people. IFR media, infection fatality rate media numbers differ than previous ones stated early, and is still incorrect for reasons mentioned above. Again, you can find out via simple math. Lockdowns in New Zealand have been extremely effective at eradicating COVID-19, leading to New Zealanders' ability to enjoy consecutive. Okay, yeah, so this is from the document. Very good.
And then it's a link straight from the document.
Yeah, amazing. Ending lockdowns just to stop suicide rates ending lockdowns just to stop suicide rates results in more harm, deaths from COVID-19. Also, surprisingly, you can address suicide rates with resources.
Ting! Oh,
Ting.
I didn't put the little winky face.
Yeah, there's no winky face. Big sad.
Well, there's a winky face on my end.
Very good. And then the silencing of doctors and nurses. Transparency is good. We can agree that the government should compile and release the evidence. However, just the government is withholding said evidence does not mean that. However, just because the
I think
government...
they're supposed to be because there. There we go. Just because the government is withholding said evidence does not mean that something sinister is going on behind the curtains.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Contract renewal has very little, if anything, to do about COVID-19, and more so about Kenny's failure to provide doctors and nurses with meaningful negotiations with contracts. Perfect. Dennis Modry is not an appropriate authority, neither is Hodgson. Modry is a general surgeon. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, yeah. Perfect. Nice appeal to authority. Amazing. And then I would probably say that you should probably end this off with, once again, like, asking him to come on, right? And, like, talk to you. I'm assuming, like, talk to both of us is your plan, or just you?
Yeah.
I don't know. What was your thoughts?
No, it's both of us.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, so I would, like, end it off with a thing that's, like...
I invite you to join myself and the official notice on...
You can just use my name, too, if you want. Whatever works for you. If it's going to be on the general form.
Okay. And Quentin... Do you want me to put your last name? No last name?
You could just tag me in the status, actually, I guess. That would work, right?
Okay.
So then that would have my last name, yeah.
Doxed.
Doxed! Oh, fuck.
Yeah, literally doxed.
It's my real name, but you don't know my last name yet. Got him.
Once again, I invite you to join myself and Quentin on our live stream to discuss these matters in more detail.
Beauty.
How do I want to word this? Like, I don't want to say anxiously awaiting a response, but like, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
My English is so bad today.
I know. My brain's so dead too from work. I could completely fucking just gucked.
Happily awaiting your response. Happily awaiting your response. Happily awaiting your response.
Amazing.
Have a wonderful day. Cordell.
Amazing. Yeah, that seems pretty good. Pretty good. And then, yeah, I guess that's pretty much that, hey? I guess, for this. That's the main thing, is just
Sweet.
ending it off with like an invite back kind of thing, essentially. And go from there.
Yeah, so how I ended it was just like, once again, I invite you to join myself and Quentin on our live stream to discuss these matters in more detail. Happily waiting your response. Have a wonderful day, Cordell.
Amazing.
And then we save. We close. We open up the Facebook. We find the general form. Oh, right, but actually, before I post on the general form, I'm going to send it to Bob himself.
Very good.
Paste. That's a huge ass fucking...
Yeah, it's a big fucking, but I mean, he fucking gish gallops everyone else, so fuck him.
Correct. That thing's fucking massive. And then we go into the Facebook.
See how long that stays in the general form, Lamau.
And I'm going to tag you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tag Bob.
Amazing.
Oh, we love being a shit disturber.
You're the best at it.
Post!
Boom.
I'm a little nervous.
Meow. Don't be. Dumb people, they dig their own graves, let me tell you. I'm reading his like statuses right now because I'm curious. Oh my god, every single status he posts is just Gish Gallop. Can't imagine, dude. Insane. Blah, 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 blah. This is big. Grand Prairie City Council frustrated with AHS. The mental health and well-being of community is of utmost importance to council. Things such as opioid and overdose and suicide are part of that conversation that council is very interested in knowing. Blah, 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 blah. Have you seen these ads too? We are Albertans and we want to play.
Yeah. Yeah, I have.
Oh, interesting. I don't even have like, I'm getting like January posts from him.
Yeah.
Why is it so far back? I feel like I had seen more recent posts, but maybe he just, yeah, interesting.
It could just be how, like, this one is from January 18, and then this one is from like January 12th, and then I scroll down a bit more, and there was like one from like November 2020, and then there's some from like July 2020.
I thought I'd seen, maybe I just mostly see the stuff on the general forum.
April 30th.
He's mostly just active there.
Think. Yeah.
But did you see his recent stuff on the general forum? Fuck,
No.
What was it?
No.
No, of course. Fuck.
No, I have not. I very seldomly look at the general forum.
Yeah, that's fair.
Unless like I'm on Facebook and something unless something pops up on there that I'm like, hey, that's not right.
True. Somebody posted something. What the fuck was it? Let me see. Might have gotten removed too. This fucking forum is like the wild fucking west.
Literally, this forum is so bad.
Oh, it was this one. It was a seatbelt thing. He got really triggered at the seatbelt meme because this person posted in there like a flash from 1987. We should watch this on stream too. It's quite entertaining.
Oh, I think I did watch that. I did watch that. Yeah.
Here, we'll watch it on stream just to get context. You're tuned in there, hey?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
I sure am.
But I don't believe that anybody should tell me what.
I should start this off by noting that this sound, just so everyone knows, this is how everybody sounds about COVID-19 restrictions and stuff currently, and when we look back on this is how they're gonna look. Full screen, baby.
But I don't believe that anybody should tell me what the hell I have to do, pardon my grammar anyway. That's dictating. We've got enough of that as it is. I don't need some sucker to tell me how to drive.
With only a week to go before the law takes effect, it's obvious a lot of people are still fighting seatbelts. Joe Miller, the man who doesn't like being told what to do, says he's going to ask his doctor for a medical certificate so he won't have to wear one. But some drivers don't have to be convinced. Joe Buxton, who got into the seatbelt habit in British Columbia, challenges anybody to prove to him that they don't work.
I would like to meet some people who are opposed to it and hear some logical explanations why, because there isn't any.
Alberta's transportation minister
Fucking
used to
debate
be
broed them.
against wearing a seatbelt, but he reconsidered after some people were killed on the highway he drives from Edmonton to Peace River.
To that, and when I sat down with my wife at that time and talked about it, we decided the odds were mounting up and I should start to wear it. So,
Adair's department has a TV commercial promoting the use of belts.
Your driver put on seat belts today.
Sure did.
But the government chose the soft sell approach. Only 28% of Alberta drivers are buckling up now. If you're one of the 72% who aren't, you'll need a good reason after July 1st. You don't need a seatbelt if you're driving in reverse, if no belts were installed at the factory, if you're driving a taxi with a passenger on board. And you don't need to wear one if your doctor gives you a medical certificate saying you have health problems. The belt would irritate. Scott Hadley, who drives a transport truck 12 to 14 hours a day, says he has an irritation. It's the new law.
Well, I'm a professional driver on the side, and I don't think we have to. Anyway, I think the law sucks. I think it's a stupid law.
Hadley and other motorists will soon see these new orange signs beside the streets and highways they drive. If they don't buckle up, the fine's $25.
We don't even have seatbelts, Bill.
Bill Lang, CBC News, Edmonton.
It's pretty wild, hey?
So fucking wild.
The rules that they had too for like when you don't have to wear a seatbelt are pretty interesting, I thought. If you're like, I mean, it makes sense if you're driving in reverse, but
That would kill me.
Seatbelts are literally authoritarian.
Alright.
The left is going too far.
true. This is what the left
that's what I
wants.
said.
They want
Seatbelts are
seatbelts.
literally
Disgusting.
authoritarian.
Can you
The
imagine
left is out to get us.
seatbelts
Can you imagine
in
a world
Canada
where
and
everyone
America?
has to wear seatbelts? Ugh. Seatbelts.
The left is rotting brains. Unbelievable. Yeah, this is I quite enjoyed this. And then on top of it all, just to make it even greater. So this person posts this and they're saying like, aha, sounds familiar, right? They're making the same meme. And the comments are just a bunch of dumb people being like, nah, man, I don't like the restrictions and stuff still. It's just so funny because it's like, this just calls them out for how stupid they look, and then they just volunteer themselves up to just be like, I am stupid.
Literally.
Let's see.
Justin Lambert, still opposed to it. Should be my choice.
They have to double down.
They do have to double down. It's fucking wild, especially when the position is so absolutely obviously stupid. It's so great to just see them just cozy up in that position, just sit down on that hill and just be like, I'm ready to die here. So good. Except seatbelts do some good. That's a good one. So do motorcycle helmets? Or wait, this is bad English. So do motorcycle helmets, but they're replying to the thing. So do motorcycle helmets, but we don't all have to wear them, do we? The big brain. And then Bob replies to it, and he's so angry. Questions and answers. The foolhardy argument regarding seatbelts versus COVID-19 cocktails was shared once again. The seatbelts save lives, so therefore, insert eye roll here. The fatality reduction for 3-point seatbelts in light trucks, pickups, vans, and SUVs is estimated to be 60%. Question: do seatbelts save lives? Answer: yeah. I love how he words all of his things. Oh my fuck.
Literally.
It's like little conversations. Question:
Wanna
will COVID
become
cocktails
famous?
save lives?
By followers and viewers on https://inlnk.ru/rzwww.
How did they know?
Big follows com.
Unbelievable.
How did they know?
How did they know? Will COVID cocktails save lives? Unknown. Unknown. It is known. It is known. So COVID cocktails obviously means vaccines. I can't believe that he takes this position. The vaccine
In the
one.
great COVID gold rush of 2020, all COVID cocktails skip the animal trials. Not true.
I mean, I don't even know. Did they even need to? This is a new kind of vaccine.
They went into animal trials.
Did they? I didn't read
Bob's
anything
keyboard,
about
the leading cause of misinformation on Facebook.
Literally.
Amazing.
Question: no kidding? Answer: yep.
What? What even is this? I can't believe
Right
he thinks he's being
under the
sly.
fucking- No kidding. Yep.
Yep.
Well, shoot. What's the risk of dying from COVID again? Answer, see for yourself.
Classic. Do your own research. Insert selection bias wherever you feel. Oh my fuck. Well, shoot. Yeah, and then his bad numbers.
No, my fuck.
Where children have a better chance of being struck by lightning than dying from or being harmed by COVID. I love that comparison is always used to downplay something.
Wait, so according to the 87th most cited scientist of all time, arguably the most cited medical specialist of the day, the most highly respected among his peers, literally the epidemiological Einstein of our time, Professor John...
Professor John I'm not going to try saying that name. Fuck that shit.
Research tells me that my personal risk is far less than the annual view. Answer, yep.
Yep. Yep.
You know, we gotta get on. I'm gonna link you something that's gonna fucking kill you. I don't know if you've ever watched a show called Storage Wars.
Storage Wars? Oh yeah, I have. Yeah.
Yeah.
Badonk.
Oh my god. Okay, I'm gonna send this to you.
Very good.
It's gonna be in the links one.
In the linkies.
How do you bid? Let me hear your best bid.
Yep.
Whoa! One thing we never ever do is yup, ever. Unless we make fun of the
Ness.
Yeah.
LOL.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
1200 going once, I got
You bought here
You
before?
better be watching. That's literally how I picture Bob. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Just hillbilly as fuck. Amazing.
Oh fuck.
That's a good meme, son. Yep, so his bad math again. See, this is the fun part too, is that he just uses the same arguments and just regurgitates them over and over and over. It's never anything, never any different perspective or anything. It's always the same shit that he says over and over. So having a conversation with him and showing him, or at least explaining that it's how incorrect all these things are, is just going to be absolutely devastating to his ability to do anything.
And those two parasitic minds have at their disposal a small percentage of the population who believe themselves to be intellectual juggernauts. However, they lack the ability to back up their elitist activism with epidemiological science, data, and facts.
Wait, are you reading on the thing?
Yeah.
Wait,
I'm
where
reading
is
down,
this?
so he's just it's question. It's personal choice, right? Answer, it should be, but Trudeau and Kenny are talking about COVID cocktail passports, but they say they're not mandatory. Ha ha ha. Question, what the hell? Really? Answer, yep. And those two parasitic minds have at their disposal a small percentage of the population who believe themselves to be intellectual juggernauts.
This is
how the fuck are we the ones being elitist?
I seen what Cordell posted.
Oh, you just saw what he just posted?
Yeah. And I was like, who's he responding to? So I clicked it.
Yeah.
That dude's a total dude.
Oh my god, amazingly.
I served him so many times at Boston Pizza.
Oh no.
Such a fucking loser.
What happened?
Sucks.
What happened?
Mitch was just talking about his experiences.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, I was I heard my name, so I was like, what happened?
One of those guys who when you come in, he just expected so much and was never really never gave off the vibe that he was actually thankful. He was just like, this is your job.
Yeah, for sure. That makes sense. Yeah, exactly. I feel it. Very unfortunate. True. Oh yeah, I'll come grab it after stream. Cool. Hell yeah. Okay, let's see. So parasitic. Okay, so you just read the parasitic one, right?
I read the whole thing.
Okay.
Holy fuck.
Oh yeah. I love how he takes the whole position that he is of the epidemiological science side, but then 99% of his arguments are from epidemiological sources. And he has one or two people behind him that are epidemiologists, but for the most part their prescriptions either are not exactly aligned with his, or just false, just bad math. Which is great. It's a good meme. But he knows that that's the effective way to do it, to pretend that his side is the side that has the proper science behind it. Can't fault him for at least approaching it in an appropriate manner, you know? Even though he's completely wrong. Unethical, immoral, illegal for doctors.
Okay, this is the fucking problem with people in Peace River. This comment right here. I trust getting the Rona via someone else having it more than I do any vaccine that they continue to say doesn't work.
Wait a second.
What?
I'm trying to find this. Is that how they start their comment?
No.
William?
They start their comment, William.
Oh my god.
That's literally the last thing he said. So like he's just like, oh, like unprecedented prolonged effects of COVID-19 on animals, and then Leslie, the author, like links it. Good on her. Love that.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I'm just curious why there's such a mad race to destroy COVID when it has a 99.7% survival rate, which it doesn't.
Yeah, which is
and Kendall Russell's like community exposure is faster, and both use the same system as the actual delivery system, the immune system. And he's like, I trust getting the coronavirus, someone else having it more than I do any vaccine that they continue to say doesn't work. What?
That's because you're reading people's opinions about if it works or not. You're not reading any scientific literature. Dumb fuck. Yeah, this guy always has some dumbass fucking opinions on the general forum, though. So I'm not surprised.
Does. I read his stuff all the time, and I'm like, how the fuck can you be this uninformed?
True.
But I will give him like maybe some kind of like credibility, and like he's just like, okay, well, he was like, he makes this statement that he doesn't believe in it, and she's just like, I suspect you don't read much science, and then he's like, show me the proof. Shows her the proof, and he's just like, he backtracks it and goes, well, I'm just curious as to why they're trying to get rid of it so fast when it has a 99.7% survival rate.
Yeah.
I'll give him props for that. Like, at least he's just like, I think he's like, even if he's not outright admitting the fact that like he's like, okay, I like walk my statement back.
Oh, he's just moving the goalpost, which I find to be extremely disingenuous in my opinion. That shit is super fucking frustrating. It does seem to be like it's kind of like admitting fault without admitting fault, but I think it's like a fucking Weasley way to do it, right? You're attempting to like not have to admit fault or like incorrectness, I guess.
Oh my
And that
God.
shit is cancerous. Well, yep. That's pretty much that though. I don't know. That was the most recent thing that I just enjoyed tremendously from the general forum. Oh, and now I can no longer see the Bob post. Bye-bye, Bob post. It was a nice debunking the fuck out of you for the last 3 days. Oh, there's no way to get it back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's gone.
Oh boy, I got people liking it already.
Amazing.
Michelle Rose, I don't know who that is.
Michelle Rose. Michelle Rose. I'm not sure.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, so I'll have to add some of these, or some more points at least from that one study to the document, and then I will have to add the other studies to watch out for and why they're wrong, or why the prescription is wrong. It's not that the studies are wrong usually. The math is wrong in the one study. But
I don't know this lady either.
What is this one? Okay, yeah, already don't need that. Cool.
Okay, well, let's see. Let's see what happens by tomorrow. So we're definitely gonna be streaming tomorrow because I imagine there's gonna be someone. I'm not gonna open Facebook tomorrow.
You're not gonna open it?
I'm gonna wait till I get on stream to open it, and I'll just be like, all right, whatever comes my way, comes my way.
Fair enough. Okay, I'll open it periodically throughout the day if I can, because I'm concerned that the post might get taken down. So I just want to know if any dumb fucks comment or whatever. So I'll look at it periodically. But if you want to leave it as a surprise, you go hard, Barbie girl.
I want to leave it a surprise, and if it gets McFucked, then it gets McFucked.
Hell yeah.
But I sent it to him directly.
Yeah. So he'll have it no matter what, which is good.
He'll have it no matter what. So if he chooses not to, respond, then I think that just shows leaps and bounds of how much of a coward he is.
True. We could just essentially spam the fuck out of him if we want. I don't know if it's a really effective approach at looking good. It depends, because we might just look like debate bros then, and sometimes people don't like that, but...
Debate bros!
Debate bros! But we could just keep commenting on every time he talks about COVID on the general forum. We could just comment on it and be like, hey, like, still wondering if you want to come on and like talk about this and actually like defend your ideas, where you can't gish gallop people. Like, patiently waiting your response or whatever, you know, and just continue to spam that or whatever. I don't know. Would just be pretty funny.
Very good.
That might be a way to address it if he just ignores us, but
Fair enough.
I mean, yes, correct. I love your antagonism. It's great. It is actually just 10 billion. Cordell's. He posted like a whole response to Bob on the general forum saying like, "Come talk to us."
It's right there. It's right there.
Great. It's beautiful.
You want to show her?
Look at it. You don't have to read the whole thing. But look. That's great.
Okay, you're going so fast.
I'm just gonna show you just that it's massive, and then just read the start and then the last sentence.
Hi, Trina.
Hi. I'll be posting this text on the journal. I like how it says Bob.
True. Bob.
Can you not like?
Bob.
Oh, you did tag him. Okay, I was like, wait a second.
Yeah.
Because I know sometimes when you like tag people, you can shorten their name, but.
Oh yeah. I don't know how you do that, but yeah. Yeah, it's a good meme. Let's see. Now we wait. Now we wait. Yep, it's great.
Give attraction. If you guys see it, make sure you
I
like
gotta-
and share it.
Yeah, I gotta like this shit.
Make sure it gets all the traction it can.
Can you share it? I don't think you can share it.
I can't share it now. It's in the general form.
Oh wait, hold on. Do I have to make it public?
You probably have to make it public, yeah. Because right now it's only members of the Peace Server general forum that can see it.
Because I would share it if I did.
Facebook. I have to go. If it ever decides to load.
I'm not sure if me sharing it on my end is going to do much of anything for traction, but liking it should.
I might get a reaction.
Here we go.
All the fantastic people on my friends list.
That's true.
How do I do it? I edit post, right?
You have to go to the top or whatever, I think.
It won't let me.
Oh, won't let you?
Maybe
Okay.
copy and paste it. Can you copy? Because Bob might be private, so you might not be able
He sent it to Bob separately. Bob.
I
has
sent
in
it
the
to Bob
message
directly.
No, but you might not be able to tag him.
He's tagged in it. He's literally tagged in it right here.
No, he's tagged in it.
Oh, okay, so it did work. Okay.
It's just that you can't hit the share button. The share button is not an option.
Copy paste it and then.
No. It's just that the share button is not an option. That has nothing to do. Copying and pasting is not going to fix it.
No, I'm talking about copying.
I could post it on like my personal.
So that I can share it.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
I guess so. Well, you should be able to share it yourself, can't you, Cordell?
No, it doesn't let me.
Oh,
It only
whatever.
lets me. It only lets like general form or.
I'm just
It only lets.
Yeah.
I just want to help.
I don't think that you sharing it is really necessary. If we talk to him, then share that. Well, this is just it's a direct response to somebody. This is not relevant to anybody on your news feed at all.
True. Well, I mean, it does shine like some light on like things that like was talked about.
Bob Leone has a negative influence on Peace River residents. You are not friends with anybody from Peace River.
So what he's talking about affects everybody.
That's fair. But
Sure,
I'm friends with people from Peace River, so I'm going to.
Yeah, sure, that makes sense.
Like what he's talking about affects the whole world right now.
Yeah, it does. But you sharing it just gives more like credence to like his reach to other people.
So why are you bothering interviewing him if you don't want people to see it?
I'm a Peace River person.
So you only want Peace River people to see it?
Oh my goodness.
It's a question. I'm just wondering.
No, I'm attacking his character publicly on a what's the word?
On a public platform.
Yeah, that's public to Peace River.
It was just magic. Okay.
For the most part, yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm wondering.
True.
Oh, my heart almost fell through my ass.
Why?
I got the messenger notification.
Oh, and you were like,
sound? I thought it was Bob, and I was like,
there's no way. He's gonna take a long time to read through all this, or he's just gonna be like, ignored.
True. Very true. I mean, we posted it publicly. It's gonna be hard for him to ignore it.
Hello, meow. Hello, meow.
Oh, come on, Damian Warren.
Damian Dumbf. Yeah, I'm actually expecting him to comment too and to say some dumb shit, and then we can just. I'll comment back to him too and be like, "You want to come on stream too, baby?" Kissy face.
Okay, there we go.
You got
it. Wasn't popping up in my. It wasn't popping up in my recent posts, and I was like,
Big
"Where
sad.
is it?"
Cool. Yeah. Well, that covers that shit, I guess. OP.
Sure. Oh, I will see you tomorrow, mi amigo.
Yeah, man, sounds good. I think I'll just end the stream here because there's not much. I gotta go eat some food and stuff like that. We got that covered. We finished up our stuff. It's good shit.
Yeah, we'll do a little bit of political stuff. I think when we start the stream tomorrow, just to go over like if anything was said, what was said, blah blah blah.
Yeah. See if
what
anything
people's
catches up or
response to it was, if it even if it was deleted.
Yeah, just a little update kind of thing, and then from there, if we don't have any actual updates beyond that, then we'll just wait until we have an update, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
All right.
If that ever happens.
Oh. True.
Cool. Thanks everyone for popping by to the stream. Hope you guys enjoyed the final chapter of Debunking Dumbf Bob Leon, and hopefully this chapter. Or hopefully the next chapter unfolds in a beautiful way. I'll keep everybody updated. For sure. Make sure you guys are following me on whatever socials that you guys have. I'm sure I'm pretty much on most of the main ones. And you'll be updated there if anything is going to be happening. Cool. Peace, Serini, and have a good one.